YouTubers, welcome to Deeply Rooted Inspirations. This is your host, me, Sharita Sunshine. Thank you so much for joining the channel. Thank you so much if this is the first time you're watching the channel. And I ask you, like everybody else does, please subscribe if you like what you're hearing, like what you're seeing, liking the content on these videos. Please don't forget to comment below, like, share, whatever, all that good stuff. So I wanted to get on here. I haven't really, I've only done a few videos, and I haven't ever explained or even introduced myself and what has inspired me to do these videos and how, you know, I'm here. And then the other thing that I want to talk on this video today is what is God to me, what Spirit has shown me God is, and perhaps inspire you to be in the question of that question for yourself. So I've had so many colorful, interesting moments in my life, and through this, what we'll call wisdom, I have been able to do some healing work for myself, use different modalities to support me with my shadow work and healing, and shed light into areas of my life that I get to work on, or get to improve, or get to shine more light on, right? And become more connected to that aspect for myself. I have shied away from doing like face-to-face videos because I had all these things like, oh, I need to be in the proper place, I need to have the proper equipment, I need to make sure that everybody in the home is quiet, because right now we're in the quarantine, so everybody's in the house, and you know, there's always noise in the house, and then by the time everyone's sleeping, it's too dark, you know, just all these different things. And then I want to do my makeup, and I want to look, and just today, Spirit is just like, stop procrastinating, and just do the video. And so I'm literally here with my most naked self in the sense that I just finished working out, I have no makeup on, I'm sweaty, I'm sitting outside in my favorite place to be. This is the closest that I can get to nature at this time, is my backyard, which I love and I appreciate and I'm grateful for. And I wanted to share today about the topic, what is God? So a few years ago, I would say in about 2000, maybe 2015, about 15 or 14, 2014, 15, I was going through this really like spiritual midlife crisis, right? Where in the beginning of my spiritual journey, it was very much dictated to me about like what everybody thought I should be doing, you know, very doctrine based, very, you know, this is how it is, very ritual based, and just all these rules and regulations. So let me start off with saying that my father's Muslim and my mom is Catholic. And so, of course, there's a lot of doctrine and located in both of those religions. And now, thankfully, neither of my parents at that time when I was growing up neither one of them were strongly like religious, in the sense of they didn't push down the religion down my throat. They just said, look, we're going to teach you what we can, and at the end of the day, if you want to be something else, then that's completely up to you, but all we can do is share the knowledge that we both have individually, which I'm so grateful for. And in that space, I was able to explore, you know, where a lot of people that are raised in families that they're not given the chance to explore. They don't have the opportunity to explore, right? So I was able to explore like visiting different churches and temples and different religions. You know, I had a lot of Hindu friends, so I went to temple with them. I had, you know, Jewish friends, went to temple with them. I had you know, just friends from all different types of backgrounds of religion. And it wasn't until one day, and every time I walked into these places of worship, into these situations, I never quite felt like in my gut, like I've arrived to some place that made sense to me, or that like I connected to something that was like, yeah, this is it for me. And I never quite felt that way. until a day that a friend of mine invited me to a spiritual mass that's called Misa in Spanish. And in these masses, it's kind of like a seance, if you will. People get together, they sit in the circle, they say prayers, this and that, and then they share with each other messages that Spirit has for other people within the circle. And when I went to this Misa, that was the first time I felt like I was a little bit weirded out, but at the same time, I had that feeling like, wow, this makes sense to me. This works. This lands. This, like that empty feeling in my gut that I've been feeling with all these different places. Finally, I felt was starting to be filled, and so then this led me, and then that friend, he was a santero, which is someone who practices the religion of Santeria, and he and I started learning with him and starting to learn more about the religion through him and so on and so forth. And then that led me down the path of, fast forward a few years later, I decided to get initiated into the rites of the Orisha, or the saint Shango, and become a priestess of Shango. And then being a Santeria for a few years, then that led me to, well, I want to understand the origination of this religion. And so for those who don't know, Santeria is so how Santeria came to be is when the slaves were brought from Africa to the Caribbean islands and so on and so forth in the Americas. These slaves, of course, in their culture and their country, and they practiced their religion, and whatever religion they practiced, when they were brought here to the Americas and the Caribbean, they were not allowed to practice that freely, and they were forced to be Catholic by the slave owners and the Europeans and so on and so forth. So they had to basically hide their beliefs, and what they did was they started synchronizing their deities, known as Orishas, with saints of the Catholic religion, and synchronizing them. So, for an example, when they went to go and pray to Saint Barbara, right, which is a Catholic saint, then in all actuality, they were actually praying to the Orisha Shango, but in the eyes of the slave owners, they were looking, like they were praying to the Catholic saints. So this is how Santeria emerged, because Santeria is the combination of Catholicism with the religion that comes from what we know as Nigeria now, but it was called Yoruba land, and it's that combination of the two. So because it's a synchronization that involves Catholicism, I was in the search of finding the core of the religion without the Catholicism added to it. So I started to search more into what people call sometimes the traditional aspect, or isese is another word that they use, of the religion that comes from Yoruba land, what we know as Nigeria. And in that process, I became, I'm initiated into Ifa as a Yanifa. I'm initiated into Oshun, in the rites of Oshun, Obatala, Ogun, and Ajay. So, anyways, I say all this to say that even with all these initiations and all these spiritual experiences and all these things, I found myself in 2015 with this crazy midlife emptiness crisis of, what is God, right? What is God? I know what everyone tells me God is. I know what everyone tells me God looks like, or how, his being, or whatever, or that it's even a he. Like, everyone has dictated to me in one way or another what God is. But I've never stopped to ask the question for myself, what is God? And really be with that. So I was just in the space of I would meditate, and when I was praying, I would just say, please, please, God, show yourself to me. I want to know what you are. I want to have my own experience. I want to feel this for myself. And so I don't even know how long I was, hold on one second, let me just take a sip of water. Sorry, I don't want to have a dry mouth when I'm about to tell you like the most amazing part. So I don't even know how long it was from when I started asking the question to when I received an answer. I won't say it's the answer. I won't say it's the only answer. I will say an answer. And I say that because let me start by saying this is just my personal experience and the message for spirit, for the universe, for source, for God to share with me in the way that I could best understand it at that time. I strongly invite everybody on this planet to pose that question to the universe, to God themselves, and or itself or himself or whatever you believe, to pose that question to God and allow God to answer you himself, right? Allow her to share the essence of God with you personally. And I think that that's such an important step that is very often not communicated in religion or any spiritual practice. And I think that it's important that every single person, despite the religion that you're involved in, get to have that personal, intimate connection with their source so they can have their own personal understanding that doesn't come from brainwashing or from another human being or dictated to them by somebody else. Okay, so I'm going to get off my soapbox. I just wanted to say that because I think that that's very important. So anyhow, I had this dream. And the dream goes as this. So in the dream, I am a little like white feathery orb of light. The way that I can best compare it to is in the movie Avatar, those little like fluffy balls that would connect to the tree. I kind of looked like that, but it was like a bright burst of light that came out of it, right? And my consciousness was in this ball of light, which I'll call a ball of light for lack of a better term. And it was like a space of darkness. So it felt like outer space, complete pitch black dark. And here I am, this ball of light just floating in space of nothingness. And then next thing I know, another ball of light comes towards me. And we're telepathically speaking. And the conversation that we're having is, you know, I recognize that this other ball of light is a spirit guide of mine. And he tells me, you've been questioning what God is and been asking what God is. And God has asked me to come to you to be able to share that so you can have your personal understanding. So I was like, cool, awesome. So he says, I want you to look over there. Excuse me. Sorry about that, guys. I want you to look over there. And when I look in a direction, there's this massive, huge ball of light, you know, that I would say is probably like the sun, but it was just pure white light, just massive. And when I'm looking at the light, at this huge sun-like being, all these other little balls of light that looked like me was attaching itself to the big ball of light. And I was getting like this sense, like just watching it, like this, I don't know, just like this connection. So my spirit guide says to me, okay, now you saw what it looks like. Now God wants you to have the experience of what it's like to be God. So I'm like, okay. So he's like, we're going to go over there and attach ourselves. And when we float ourselves over there and we attach ourselves to this big ball of light, the wave of love, purity, connection, I don't even know how to describe it because like it's so beyond words, but compassion, it's just like love and connection are like, and freedom are like the big words that come up for me with this experience. And it's just like this pure love and connection that I felt. And as I'm connected, I'm hearing the voice say, this is what God is. God is all of us connected. God is oneness. God is wholeness. You are God. Everyone and everything is God. And you come here to this earth and have this spirit, you're a spiritual being having this human experience to be able to connect back to the oneness that is God, that you and everybody else is. And then boom, I wake up from my dream, and I wake up and I'm just like, what did I just experience? Like, what the hell was that, right? And the next morning, I woke up and I was just like, I was just crying, and it cries tears of joy, of like happiness, it was such an overwhelming experience. And it's so difficult for me to put into words, because it's a feeling that I've never felt before. So I say all this to say, not to take my experience and make it yours, and not to say that this is the truth and this is the way that it is, and not for you to stop looking. I shared this experience to hopefully inspire you to be in the question and ask God to show you what God is. Ask God to help you experience that experience, so that you can share that feeling with those around you, with the people that you love, with other people, and maybe even create a YouTube video about it, whatever, however it looks. But I deeply invite you to be on the search of what God is, and I hope this helps you. I hope that that experience supports you in some manner. And it's been something that I've never wanted to share, and Spirit has been like really telling me, like, stop it, stop the nonsense, stop like trying to make it about putting on makeup and all this, finding the perfect situation to share the experience. We want you to share it now, so let's get it done. So here I am in my sweaty glory, sharing with you what God is to me, and what God has shown herself to me. And so I love you all. I wish you much love, compassion, connection, and freedom. And until next time, see you later. Love you guys. Bye.